Hey everyone, welcome to the horror show. I'm Cecil Laird.
I'm Marsh Parker.
And you got Jaime and Fuego here, and guess what? Outcast just had its season finale, and it was pretty rad. This is a show that the three of us have been truly captivated by. Horror TV has been top-notch this past year, and we're going to go full spoilerific, but also talk about specifically the second half of the season, because we already talked about the first 5 episodes, so... Man, I sensed the tone shift from Kyle being the one who is, totally down and out and going through all kinds of problems to all the people around him, I thought, kind of spiraling downward. From Megan, his sister, to, kind of sister, to the preacher. I mean, it was like that stuff was going around him as he was kind of figuring himself out and becoming a happier person. Did you guys see that tone of it?
No, absolutely. It's interesting. Before the show, I didn't see it as much in the comic because the show is, again, based on a comic book by Robert Kirkman, who created The Walking Dead as well. And the show, it was much more evident, I think, what you just said, how it's called Outcast because Kyle, our main character, is the outcast, and not only Kyle, as we find out in the final episode. But
yes.
I'm anxious to find out your reaction to that. Did you find out in the comic yet?
No, I wasn't at that point yet, so I'm glad that because these two talked me into starting to read the comic book, and the comic is pretty in line in contrast with the Preacher adaptation. They add good supplemental stuff, but pretty faithful nonetheless.
Yeah.
So we'll get to that, but what I was getting at is they did a really good job of signifying that he was an outcast to start. He didn't leave his trailer, and in fact he even calls back to it in the finale. I should have never left my trailer,
right? I know.
Because as soon as he does, he's like a drop in the pond. He's like a stone hitting the pond, right? As soon as he exits the trailer, ripples start to come around him, and and they give a reason. I think they mention it in the show, but they didn't go as deep into it as they did in the comic. How basically Kyle is a light to the demons, and they're drawn
they don't like
to
light,
him.
as we find
but
out.
they're drawn to him. That's how they get out of where they're from. They find the light, which is why everyone around Kyle is getting possessed. Like you wonder why. And that's the brilliance of Robert Kirkman's writing, is that there's a reason behind it. It's not just coincidental that all these people around Kyle are getting possessed. It's because he's a light drawing them into our world.
And I don't think they really spelled that out.
No. They just barely mentioned it. No, they mentioned it
and this
once.
is full spoiler, guys.
Yeah, so. I think the man in black, played by Data, actually mentioned that you're a light, and we're drawn to the light.
They had a moment, which is interesting because the moment they had happened in the jail cell, but it's the same moment that happened later on in the comics. And the one thing I did touch base in the first one we did is that, a lot of the stuff that came out in the comics is happening in different orders in the series, and I almost think in a lot better order.
It's very effective.
Kirkman is executive producer on this, so I'm sure he had a hand in it, like, okay, I know I wrote it this way, but let's play around with it. Let's see how we can draw the characters a little bit more and bring this story a little bit more dramatically through cinematic ways. And they've done such a great job. You love every single character. You hate the characters you're supposed to hate. And
I didn't like Mark very much, the guy who was the boyfriend from The Office, who's like the sheriff's deputy, I guess.
He did his job.
He did his job. Yeah, he was effective.
I thought he was
Spoilers,
super
he doesn't make it.
effective.
In episode 10, Marcia mentioned something that I was thinking as I was seeing it play out on screen. Ren Schmidt as Megan, I thought maybe stole the entire second half of the series, because her descent, as compelling as the Reverend's was, when she went into full-on Carrie mode, I was buying it, man, and it was just chilling, and the fact that she was she had such an interesting arc herself as well. I mean, she was great at being the supportive sister, a little bit of sass, southern sass and all that, but when she got possessed, it
turned dark.
It got
real
to
fast.
me. It got so dark, especially with killing her husband. I mean, spoiler.
But
Glass
It was
shard.
glass.
Yeah, she hammered his face into the mirror.
But it was actually it was an accident.
Yeah,
really,
she didn't mean to kill him, but she was like meant to hit him. Yeah.
The really cool thing about how they describe the possession, and we really show it with her because we actually get to see her get possessed and go through their motions, but it's like being born.
It's like
for
a
them.
newborn.
They have no idea what's going on. It's sensory overload. That's why they don't like the light, because they're super
Can't even
sensitive.
talk.
They don't want to be touched. Everything is new, and it scares them, and they're looking for somebody to ground them. and each person is different. And for her, she was looking for Kyle.
Yeah, she went to his house, because she didn't have bad memories there like he did, and so she went there for like solace or sanctuary maybe or something. But yeah, it was just interesting, especially because they talked about the firefighter's wife and how she was a different person that he actually enjoyed more because everything was so new and so fresh to her, and just the excitement for life that she had was pretty much contagious to him as well, and he was seemingly happier, which is why he's pretty much an accomplice despite not being possessed. He's just helping the cause of the spirits or demons or whatever you want to call them.
Yeah, and that was a great twist, honestly, because I was wondering what's the deal, this dude's wife is possessed, and then when he gets confronted, I loved that scene where he's just like, I like her this way, I don't want to change her. It's like, man, humans are complicated, twisted people. Like,
it gave me similar chills to when
what kind
they
of
were.
Bitch was she before?
I know, right? He probably hated his marriage and his life, but that scene gave me a similar charge and like chill to when they were in the church after taking the demon out of that one guy who said he was happier. Being possessed because some semblance of his identity was still there, So
well, the Reverend, I think he had a good point, because everybody through this whole second half, everybody's not rooting for the Reverend. He's a little annoying. He's very prideful.
He's been descending the entire.
Yeah. Well, I think the preacher had a lot to face. Like, for the very first half of it, he was like, I am slaying these demons. I am kicking ass and taking names. This is what I've been doing for the last 20, 30 years.
Thought he was doing a good job.
Then he had to face reality and really come to grips that he hasn't been doing anything. Like, he is not the one who's going to save the town, but he does play a very powerful role, but he had to get out of his own way to figure that out. And I thought that was very interesting because, of course, and you see in a lot of people, like especially these people who think they're being very successful, when they actually have to face the true story and realize I am not, and they have to get over themselves to be actually, productive and get to where they need to be. He had to lose everything to start over.
And swallow his pride, like he said, was the sin he was guilty of, right? He's like, I was guilty of the, sin of pride, and the fact that he was, pride and arrogance, there's a fine line, and you want to be confident and all that, but yeah, he was arrogant. He thought he had done such good work, and turns out,
well, and then at the end, he finally caves and is like, you know what, I'm just going to rid the world of this devilish force. And in the show, that didn't happen in the comic, right? No, in the show, he goes to basically light up the trailer that Brent Spiner's character playing as the devils or a head demon of some kind. It's a little wishy-washy on that.
I don't think it's supposed to be the devil. I think he's just...
Well, they've even referred to him as the devil, and they made it seem like he's the devil in the comic on a number of occasions, but there's a couple things counter to that have been presented as well.
Way he represents himself, he doesn't think he...
Well,
no, he's
he's a higher level something, because when what was her name? The old lady?
Margaret.
When she goes to try and suck demon force from Mildred.
Yeah, something with an M, guys. Sorry, there's Megan, the sister. There's all these M's.
When she goes to try and suck the force from him, he's like, "That won't work on me."
Sorry, suck the what?
Suck the force.
Suck the force.
Yeah.
Sorry.
He said that won't work on me. Yeah. So you are led to believe that he is a higher level something. We don't know how high he goes, but they are indicating at times that he is the devil. So that was interesting. So anyway. The preacher goes to try and set him on fire, and we see movement inside the trailer, so he's like, whew, okay, cool. And then you find out that it wasn't... You could see it from a mile off when we were actually watching it.
As soon as he lit it up, I'm like, the kid's gonna be
It's gotta be the kid.
There.
However, I'm not 100% convinced that it's the kid, because they just showed a shadowy figure inside. A
silhouette of some sort.
So they're trying to make us... Yeah, but they're trying to make us think it's the kid. I think that's a misdirect. I think that'd be a little too on the nose. Maybe,
Is it the sheriff?
Clearly that's what happened, but I don't know. I don't know if it was...
No, the sheriff was in the police office.
It might actually be... Was it the kid? No, the kid's mom is going to report him missing.
Yeah,
so,
they are making it pretty clear that we're supposed to think he burned the kid.
I would have thought they would have shown him inside the trailer, since we've seen him inside the trailer before, like waking up, and I don't know that they wouldn't have shown.
I think they might have tried to allude that it might. I think they were trying to allude that it was a devil inside, and then it was supposed to be a shock. that it wasn't.
Really? Because that was a really choreographed shot.
Yeah, because I was like,
I don't know. My gut's telling me the kid is done because the way he latched on, he was such a little shit. I mean,
he wouldn't
so
kidnap Carl Barnes' daughter, knowing this guy is no good. Like, I almost was hoping that the pedophile
didn't he have a change of heart, kind of? Because he was not. Oh
no,
that's right.
It was
He acted
like he was there to save the day, but he was just like, you can't trust Reverend. I'm sorry, you can't trust Reverend.
Can't trust Gingy's.
Well, he was living up to their notoriety for being soulless. So,
that would be really funny. Oh, jeez, that'd be a hilarious joke if a demon tries to suck his soul and there's nothing coming out.
That's why
there's nothing in there. What's going on?
Well, let's talk about the effects because, you know what? Wow, actually, I'm going to jump right to the moment that I loved because, Marcia, remind me in the comics how this happened because I don't remember it being as effective when they revealed how the daughter is an outcast as well. I thought they did it so well in the show. Like, it was so much more effective in the show than I remember it being. How did we find out in the comic?
I don't think she actually outcasted anybody in the comic at all. It was just known because I think it was just one of those preludes, like, because when they talk about how it's hereditary and he realizes, oh shoot, it wasn't me that brought the demon to his sister, it was actually his daughter, because in the comics when he actually goes to confront his wife, his Amber hugs Megan, and then that night Megan turns, and that's when he realizes, oh no, it's not
she's
me.
Another light.
She's another one.
So they're gravitating towards her.
They didn't actually do the outcast, but not to say that it's not going to happen, because like I said, they're doing this out of order, and I think they have the hand up that Robert Kirkman's like writing the story as they're also doing the show, so he can play with it.
He can get another 6 months ahead.
Yeah.
You know, he can get ahead in the comic and prepare things for the second season. But I thought that moment was great. So what happened is in the show, the sister has been taken and she's pretty far gone at this point, and she attacks Kyle, and she's sort of subduing not only him, but a couple of people are subduing him and the preacher as well.
There's the fight with him and the firefighter and his possessed wife, and it's almost at like this abandoned department store that has all these possessed people that they seem like they're stockpiling.
It's like a med lab, it's like a war med lab for possessed people that are having trouble transitioning.
Like birthing room at a hospital or something, because they were all fresh and newly possessed, and she's like,
that was a really interesting idea, actually. It's kind of cool to think about when you think about those old war movies where there's always those med tents where there's all those people on cots. It's like it was that, but it was an evil med tent. It was really kind of cool.
For newborn
so anyway,
demons.
All these people are attacking Kyle, and finally Kyle's daughter jumps into action, and after the rest get pulled off, she jumps on Kyle's sister and grabs onto her chin, her face, from behind. She's like hanging on to her.
So
and I thought that was so cool, how they had the sister, go back like this, and then all the stuff started pouring out.
And it was a big demon, too.
It was a lot of goop. It was a lot of black goop.
And I have to say, as much as I compared it to Supernatural originally with the black, it's like escaping. This looks so much better.
Oh, it's like slime. It's like slimy. It's not. It's not just smoke.
And the way it was like caressing her.
That was so cool.
There was like almost tendrils going down.
It was really cool visualization of this. Like it's different as far as when you expel a demon. You know, I loved it. I loved it.
Yeah.
I thought it was excellent.
Although I must say, the firefighter and his wife, they hightailed it out pretty quickly after Reverend went crowbar
I think they got knocked out.
I should say tire iron.
No, I don't think they got knocked out. No,
they
I think
both fled.
They left. Yeah. That's what's actually kind of interesting, is that there's this weird side love story between a human and his possessed wife,
because you could tell
and they just want to stay together. It's really interesting. Like, there's so many interesting facets to the show and the subplots and all this stuff. It was just a extraordinarily successful first season of a show, let alone a horror show.
One bit of subplot I don't feel like they tied up properly. Maybe they'll come back to it. The burning up of that trailer out in the woods and stuff. They didn't really allude to everything that was going
I
on?
think that was another kind of a birthing station.
Yeah, it was. That's exactly what it was. So they were helping transition. Scale. Yeah, they were helping transition just on one at a time.
Right, and then they got found out.
They got found out, so they burned the evidence.
So that other prostitute who they were questioning at that one point, halfway through the season,
she was a demon that they helped.
Exactly.
No, right on.
Yeah. So nice. It all ties up really nicely, you guys. If you haven't seen Outcast, if you missed it on Cinemax,
so good.
I highly recommend either just paying for Cinemax for 1 month and doing the Cinemax on demand thing and just watch it.
Binge it. It's only
Think
10
about
episodes.
it, you guys. If you did, it's probably $15-$20. You get 10 episodes, 10 45-minute to hour-long episodes. Half of that is 4 to 5 hours long. That's easily 2 movies worth. You spend that much going to the movie to see a 2-hour movie. It's so worth it just for a month.
And the production value was on par with a film, in my opinion. At least with the
absolutely.
horror movies we go to theaters to see.
Especially the second half. I mean, the first half was a lot of story building and character
setting
building.
Stuff up.
And then once the second half, I think to be honest, the preacher story pulled me out of it a little bit for the first part of the second half. But then, it just kind of, especially with the wife coming to grips and learning everything, and then the story behind with Megan and her background and watching Kyle grow, it did come together in the end. But
that was something that they really expanded upon in the story, though, right? It was, the TV series was that whole blackmailing thing with Megan and the guy who was molesting her and everything, because they just pretty much, went. They grazed through it in the comic book, but they really added a lot more.
Well, because in the comic book, it didn't get that severe. At all. They just beat him up and kicked him out of town, and that was that.
There's no lawsuits and stuff like that.
I thought it was an interesting way to take it. I mean, they
I
have to look for ways, to expand the TV show.
And I think they did a great job. They took the little information you got from the comic book and expanded the storylines very beautifully. So watch the series and read the comics, because the comics are awesome too. The graphics and their color and the story on there is really fun. It's a quick read, but it's totally worth it.
Yeah, absolutely. So
yay, Kirkman!
and the artist, Azaceta.
Yep. Paul Azaceta, I believe.
Yeah, beautiful artwork there too.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that's going to do it for our review of the full first season and technically the second half of the first season of Outcast, brought to us by Cinemax and Robert Kirkman. So
Outcast.
I thought it was excellent. Let us know in the comments below if you watched it. Let us know what you thought, or if you haven't seen it yet
Season 2
and you somehow watched our spoiler video.
Why would you do
make you want to watch it? So,
still watch it, because there's so much more than we even touched on.
Absolutely, and it's not like we acted it out, and these people were all excellent at what they did. So, all right, well, thanks very much for watching. I've been Cecil Laird.
Gracias, Jaime and Fuego here.
Marsh Parker.
And until next time, remember,
stay scared.